What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video we are going to be unboxing the Lacroix Stormcore ESC. This ESC is the latest and greatest ESC based on VESC 6 technology and is very similar to the Inertian Foxbox Unity that was so popular. So when you open your package from Lacroix, there's a couple things you're going to get. The first is this really cool sticker from them. You'll also get a power switch, which is a really cool power switch. We'll get into the features that this power switch has in a little bit. It's really cool. There's also a USB-C cable which you can use to program your Stormcore. It's really nice to see that they've incorporated the USB-C once again. And then you have this 3-pin JST to male servo connector cable for a PPM remote. And lastly, the actual Stormcore itself, which from our initial impression is absolutely incredible. It just feels so dense and so well made. It's one of those things that when you pick it up, you just feel like it's of high quality and that it's very robust and it's not going to break on you. It just feels and looks like a very high quality product, which it is because it is the latest and greatest VESC out there at the moment. There's a lot of really cool features that have been added to this since the last ESC made by the creator Jeffrey. The previous ESC that he made was the Foxbox Unity, which was a huge success. And while this thing does look a lot like a Unity and it performs a lot like a Unity, there are a couple really cool features that differentiate it from the Unity. The first is the integrated XT90 port. The XT90 that goes into your battery is actually inside of the Stormcore, which is going to save a lot of space inside of the enclosure, and I think it's extremely clever. There's also 4mm bullet connectors and much thicker wires, and those sensor wire connectors are on the inside, which is much easier to plug into your sensor wires. There's also these nice gaskets right around the edges where the phase wires come out of the ESC. Overall, the finish is metal like we said before, as opposed to that rubber silicone, and I think that this just makes it look a lot more professional and it's going to hold up a lot better. It also acts as a heatsink. So essentially, from our initial impression, we were just super impressed with the Stormcore. It's a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be, but I think this is just because of the metal case, which is going to have some obvious trade-offs as being a heatsink, but it's also going to be a lot heavier and bigger inside of your enclosure, which is unfortunate. But now we're going to do some comparisons with other VESCs that are in the same price range that are good options. So we have the 6.6 Plus VESC from FlipSky. Obviously, the performance on the 6.6 is not as good as a Stormcore, but here's just a quick size comparison. As you can see, the Stormcore is much wider than a 6.6 Plus. From a side-by-side view, the 6.6 Plus looks like it's just a little bit slimmer than the Stormcore, but it's pretty darn close, to be honest. It looks like the 6.6 is also a little bit longer than the Stormcore, although they're going to be pretty much the same length. Both of these options also have an integrated power switch. The 6.6 Plus, I should note, is a little bit cheaper than a Stormcore, but the performance on a Stormcore is going to be much superior to that of a 6.6 Plus. It's just a better product overall. Now next we're comparing this to the Foxbox Unity, which is going to be the one I'm sure you guys are all curious about, because the Stormcore is quite literally just an updated version of the Unity. Just from the looks of them, you can tell that they're pretty much identical. The Stormcore is just a little bit bigger. Honestly, I don't think that there are too many differences in terms of how they perform, just some of the features that they have are a little bit different. Side by side, you can see that there's some visible differences. The Stormcore is a little bit bigger. It features a metal case as opposed to this orange rubberized case. The ports are also on the back side of the Stormcore compared to those that are on the top side of the Unity. That's just a minor difference. Also, there's no integrated battery port inside of the Foxbox. It's just two wires coming out, which I think is one of the biggest upgrades on the Stormcore. Overall, size-wise, the Unity is a little bit smaller than the Stormcore, and its heatsink is only on the bottom as opposed to a full aluminum case. The rubberized feeling isn't terrible, but I think that the metal feeling is definitely going to be a lot more robust and long-term solution for an ESC. The Unity is a lot slimmer than the Stormcore, I should say, which could come in handy with a slim build. The power switch on the Stormcore is super cool. I was talking about earlier, in that it changes color as your battery changes. On empty, it'll be red, and on full, it'll be green. In between the way, it'll also be a variety of colors expressing how much battery your board has. To turn the board off, you just hold the switch and then it'll shut off automatically. I wanted to take a second to talk about the Stormcore app, which in my opinion is a great app, but it's not quite there and not quite refined. So when you turn on your board, Stormcore will instantly appear inside the apps menu. You can click on it and it will pretty much instantly pair, and it'll come to this home screen, which I think is extremely well designed. It'll show you how fast you're going, how much battery you have, the exact voltage of your board. It also has some lifetime telemetry data. It shows how much current your motors are in ESC are pulling. It It also has the duty cycle down below as well as the temperatures. You can start a ride, which it will then track a lot of the specs that go on during those rides, and then you can finish the ride and log it, so you can go back and look exactly how much you did during that ride. So then we were in this tab on the front page. You can go to the second page, and this shows all of your rides. And I think inside this page is one of the coolest features. So we can pick this ride, for example, and look exactly what happened on this ride. There's a bar at the bottom right here that you can slide back and forth, and I think this is one of the coolest parts of the Stormcore app. You can see exactly how much current, how fast you're going, and a lot of other specs by sliding this bar every and exact moment during your ride. So you can kind of just slide it around, you'll see those values changing, and it'll show your dot on the map move, which I think is extremely cool. It's definitely a very cool feature on the Stormcore app, which I think is going to really change the way that we look at data in DIY builds. It also shows you exactly where the hottest point your ESC was, as well as where you were going the fastest in your ride. So we can go back to this menu, and then this is the part of the app that I think needs some development as it's not done. The configuration page, it would be really nice to see an app that we can program the board through. It looks like they're developing that right now, so that's something for the future. And then we also have this tab, which is just the settings tab. You can configure your battery so it knows exactly how much battery percentage you have and how many miles you have left, how many watt hours you're consuming. You can also configure your drivetrain, which I think is a really cool looking diagram that they have here. I will say that this app is not completely done. I had to download it through TestFlight, which is a beta app testing service on iOS. I think that there are a couple improvements that need to be done before they actually release it on the App Store, but you can still get it through TestFlight and it works perfectly fine. But overall, I think that the Stormcore app is super cool, and it's going to have many improvements in the future. Now we're going to get into performance, which is by far the most important thing that you want in your ESC. We've tested this using dual 6374 motors and a 12S battery with all-terrain tires, with street tires. So we've tested it on a wide variety of setups, and it's performed very well on all of these. The acceleration from a startup is extremely strong and smooth. We started it up on this hill, and it just bombed all the way up and accelerated like no other. I've never had any problems like some ESCs with cutouts or just them failing in the middle of riding, and it's been going strong for around a month of testing so far. Overall, I've just been super pleased with the results that I've seen with the ESC. It gives these massive motors tons of power when accelerating. It's always super smooth, and it just drives us up those huge hills that we want to cruise up. So it's definitely a super high performance ESC. Now the question that I'm sure I'm going to get a lot in the comment section down below is whether or not it's worth getting one of these for $320 or getting a Foxbox Unity for $200. And I have to say that's a really tough decision. The Unity is one of the most tested and reliable ESCs on the market, and while it's still old, it performs incredible to this day. And the Stormcore is just the latest and greatest, but it's at a higher price point. I definitely say if you have the extra money, go for it, get that Stormcore. You'll get great customer service with Lacroix. They're super great guys. It's got those great little extra features, and overall has the slight improvements that make the overall product just that much better. Now, if you're looking to save a little bit of money or put your build on a little bit more of a budget, I'd 10 out of 10 just recommend going for the Unity. It's still an incredible product, even though it's dated compared to the Stormcore. I think that the Stormcore is at a reasonable price point, but the prices of VESCs are just coming down right now, especially with the Unity being at only $199.99. So there you guys have it. Those are our thoughts on the Lacroix Stormcore ESC. In our opinion, this is the best VESC out there at the moment for a DIY electric skateboard. If you're interested in buying one, we'll have the link down in the description below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like this video and also drop a comment down below what you think of the Stormcore. Also, if you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please make sure to hit subscribe for more awesome DIY electric skateboard content. And lastly, go make sure to check out our online store, Propulsion Boards, for all of your DIY electric skateboard needs. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.